How's that book? What was your question?
Does it relate to now? You can kind of utilize the book right now to what's going on with the team?
Of course, you got to just keep going, keep moving forward. Things aren't going your way, but at the end of the day, you can choose to wake up and fight, and that's what we do. You good?
How's the preparation going for the Saints this week?
Preparation is going good. I think everybody's locked in, ready to get a win, and I think any competitor is just excited to get back out there and get back on the field and try to make some plays.
When an offense has joker players like Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara, obviously, that the Saints do, what, if anything, changes for you guys in your preparation, especially in the middle of the defense?
I don't think anything necessarily changes. You're very aware of where they're at all times. Obviously, Kamara's an amazing back, but Hill provides a different aspect for their offense. And so, kind of similar to San Fran to an extent, as far as like personnel, you don't really pay attention to the personnel this week. You just pay attention to the people and where they're at and final formations and things of that nature. So that's kind of how you prepare for it.
Bobby, the guys who grade linebackers think you're having an incredible season.
Say it one more time.
The guys who grade linebackers for a profession, they think you're having an incredible season. How do you feel like you're playing, and particularly being in a new defense?
I think it's really hard to say because I think my success is always paired with the team success, and so we're not where we want to be right now. So it's kind of hard to think about individually. I think for me, I'm just trying to put my best foot forward and do everything I can to kind of get this thing turned around.
What do you tell the younger players that haven't experienced some of the things you experienced now that you guys are losing a little bit?
I tell them you keep going, and I tell them it's never as big as it seems. So I think a lot of times when you try to be in a moment, when you're in a moment, it feels like everything's coming crashing down on you, but it can be turned around in just an instance. One game, one stretch, it doesn't matter. Anything can be turned around. So for me, it's like you keep fighting until there's no season left, and we have a lot of season left. 8 games, a lot of things can happen. There's a lot of things that are in our control. We can do better and perform better. And so that's kind of the message, to be honest.
Bobby, I know we keep asking, but how do you generate more takeaways for this defense?
You look for your opportunities. You do whatever you can. Whether it's watch more film, whether it's work out harder, whether it's run more. You do whatever you can. I think the biggest thing is just being conscious of it. Trying to make plays. We've had opportunities that we just didn't capitalize on. So, the moments are there. We just have to capitalize on the moments.
When you watch film and you see maybe mistakes that were made, how do you correct those mistakes? What's sort of the process to doing that?
The process is just calling it out. You kind of say, you talk through it. What were you saying? What were you thinking? Okay, this is what's supposed to happen. And then, the good ones and the great ones, they don't make that same mistake twice. And so, that's really the challenge, is making sure that you get it the first time and don't make it again. And the ones that do, they last a really long time in this league.
Bobby, ever since you came in, we've really learned how you study film at an extremely high level. Is it, for you right now in this team, is it more cerebral studying film, or is the greater challenge kind of the mental and emotional state of where this team is right now?
So you're asking what's tougher?
Yeah.
Film is like second nature to me now at this point. So, it's like riding a bike. So I watch film a lot over my career. So, once you have a routine, it's not that hard. But mentally, life is always a challenge. You know what I mean? So, but I also work my mind out too. So I think both are pretty strong.
So you're a big Kobe fan. He was always
Huge Kobe fan.
Mentally emotional. And I think you read his book in the off season, if I'm not mistaken. What kind of mental things do you do to strengthen your mind?
Meditation. I think meditation is the biggest strengthening, because it helps you practice being present, help you practice kind of seizing the moment when it's there. And so, and again, kind of the same thing is everything feels a lot bigger than what it is until you slow your mind down, because it's your mind that's racing, that's causing you to think everything's bigger than what it is. And so once you calm your mind down, then you can actually attack whatever the challenge is in front of you.
And last thing on that, when did you pick that up in your career?
Ooh, that's a good one. I would say maybe year 3-ish, 4.
Okay.
Somewhere around there.
So is it as comfortable as film study to you?
Nah, it was kind of weird at first. You know, you sit there in silence and you hear everything. You know what I mean? So I for sure thought I was doing it wrong, you know, when I was meditating, because, like, you know how the dog go, like, squirrel. Like, I was doing that a lot. And so, you know, but I had, like, different meditating apps that kind of, like, coached me through it. And once I got coached through it, then I started getting better at kind of doing it on my own.
So obviously some unfortunate news with, you know, Cooper going to IR after, you know, undergoing ankle surgery. What kind of, I don't know if challenge is the right word, or just how do you guys as a wide receiver room kind of view that and look at that moving forward?
Yeah, again, as a group, you know, we got to just come together, you know, and make sure that we're, you know, picking it up and making plays as a group. You know, again, I think the theme for us should just be straining to make plays. You know, that's, you know, tough catches, tough whatever, you know, making sure that we're doing everything on our part, you know, preparing and then also going out there executing and making tough plays.
For you individually, I mean, I know you're more focused on the team and that sort of thing, just making plays when the opportunities come to you, but this could ostensibly be a pretty big opportunity for you. I guess, how do you look at it from an individual aspect on your end?
Yeah, again, just, you know, approaching it the same, you know, again, always, you know, preparing myself for any and every opportunity. You know, so, and, you know, I treat this no different, you know, throughout the course of the week in my preparation, you know, watching film, going out through the practice, you know, making sure that I'm, again, preparing myself for, you know, any and everything that comes, you know, and then when that time comes, I'll be ready.
You feel this offense making progress that maybe isn't being reflected in the wins and losses yet?
You know, I think to certain degrees, I think for us as an offense, we got to just be able to put it all together. You know, but I think we see flashes here, flashes there. You know, I think the challenge for us now is, you know, being able to put it all together, you know, and not just put it all together on one play, but consistently being able to stack plays, you know, stack drives, you know, and then you can, you know, stack games, you know, but it all starts with, you know, being able to have a starting point and being able to, you know, just kind of build from that, which I think that, again, we've had certain instances of that and flashes of that, but we just have to be a lot more consistent with that as a whole.
Is that the biggest frustration, the consistency, the thing that's holding you guys back?
Definitely. You know, again, I just think that, you know, that's you know, with us all just having to make plays and do different things like that. But, you know, I think if we could find our way to be consistent, you know, I think we have all the playmakers and stuff that we need to be able to go out here, you know, and make plays and be a cohesive offense.
How does all the turnover on this offensive line hurt you guys as a passing game? Beyond your role as a blocker, just not knowing who's going to play and, you know, not having that continuity that you want in a team.
You know, that's not too much that we could kind of focus on or, you know, or really think about on a day-to-day or regular basis as a skill position. But, you know, again, I mean, any time, you know, in the NFL when you have a lot of guys banged up, you know, and things like that, you know, trying to really over-communicate different things like that from week to week standpoint, I mean, it's always tough. You know, again, I mean, across the board, you know, those things are tough. But again, I mean, you know, that group and our group as a whole, you know, having to face through, you know, a number of injuries on the offensive side in our receiver room, up front, you know, again, I think that everybody has done a good job in just battling through those things. But again, we have to just make sure that we're hyper-focused on executing and making sure we're taking advantage of our opportunities when those times come.
You've been on teams that have all levels of success in the NFL during your career. What's the overall attitude like in this locker room during this stretch that's tough for the Rams?
I mean, I think everybody has a good attitude and good approach. You know, again, and that's what you need. Like I said before, I mean, we still have a lot of games left. You know, I mean, we just kind of got over the halfway point of the season. But again, I mean, I've been in a similar situation like this before. You know, and been able to really get things turned around in late November, early December, to be able to give ourselves a shot. You know, and I think that this team has all the capability in the world of doing that. Players, coaches. Everybody included, you know. So I'm looking forward for us being able to accept the challenge of where we're at now and being able to get this thing turned around.
This team's very much in the mentality that this is still a playoff caliber team that can get it going at the right time.
Most definitely it is, you know. I mean, we see the plays across the board that we make as a team, you know, offensively, defensively, special teams. Like I said before, it's just, for us now, it's just about putting it all together and being consistent and being cohesive, you know, and playing complementary football, you know, and as cliche as that may sound, you know, again, we can't beat ourselves early on first and second down. You know, I think over the past couple of weeks, we've gotten far too many third and longs, again, which is tough. You don't really give yourself too much of a shot to stay on the field and convert, get into some of those situations. So, again, if we just if we eliminate some of the self-inflicting mistakes, I think we'll put ourselves in a good position, because I think that when we've had opportunities in third and manageable, third and short situations and normal kind of third downs, I think we've had some success, but we have to be in more of those situations rather than behind the 8 ball and third and 10s, third 11s, third and 12s, and plus. So I think if we do that from an offensive standpoint, I think then we'll give ourselves an opportunity to get more downs and stay on the field.
Looking at the Saints secondary as you're preparing for them, what kind of challenges do you see that they present?
They have a big secondary, and on the outside they have tall corners. Again, they have experience on the back end with Tyrann Mathieu and Marcus May, so they have a lot of experience back there, again, and even in the linebacker, with Davis kind of, leading that bunch. They have a lot of guys who played a lot of football, same with up front with Cam Jordan, so they have a lot of guys, so for us it's just going to be about, again, man, staying locked in, communication, and just trying to put together a good cohesive group on Sunday to go out there and execute.